You've taken care of your skin. You've updated your style. But there's one quiet detail that might be working against you: your hair color. So many women I know, dear friends, neighbors, even a woman I ran into at the farmer's market, have walked out of the salon expecting to feel refreshed, only to feel older. The wrong shade can drain the warmth from your face, emphasize fatigue, or make fine lines seem deeper than they are. After 50, our skin loses a bit of that natural glow. Our features soften. The tones that once lit us up may now cast shadows we don't need. Hair color, more than ever, becomes not just a beauty choice, but an act of self-expression and self-respect. And here's something I've learned from years of watching these changes unfold. Two women can choose the same shade, from the same color chart, yet walk out with completely different results. The secret: it's not just about what's trendy, it's about what harmonizes with who you are now. We're not here to turn back the clock. At Chic Over 50, we embrace the confidence, grace, and real beauty that come with age. If that feels true to you, this is your place. Now, let's start with the 3 hair colors that often do more harm than good colors that, without meaning to, might be making you look older than you feel. Color 1, jet black, bold in youth. But does it still flatter after 50? Jet black might cover every gray, but could it also be draining your face? I still remember my old neighbor Donna. She had this signature jet black hair that turned heads wherever she went. For decades, it was her thing. Sleek, bold, polished, the kind of color that made her feel pulled together, powerful, and just a little glamorous. When the first silver strands started showing up in her 50s, she didn't think twice. She went right back to jet black full coverage. Zero grays, no nonsense. But one afternoon, we were sitting on her porch, sipping coffee in that soft golden hour light. She glanced at her reflection in the window and said, almost whispering, "Is it just me, or do I look a little harsh lately?" There was no vanity in her voice, just quiet curiosity. And honestly, she didn't look older, but there was something about the intensity of that black against her now softer skin that felt out of sync. That moment stuck with me, because it's something I've noticed in so many women, beautiful women who have aged with grace and strength, yet still hold on to the same hair color they wore in their 30s. And while jet black is rich and dramatic, it's also incredibly dense. On maturing skin, it creates a level of contrast that can be overwhelming. See, as we get older, the natural warmth and glow in our skin begins to fade. The sharp contrast of jet black can exaggerate shadows under the eyes, around the mouth, along the jawline. Instead of lifting the face, it can actually pull it downward. And if hair has thinned, which is so common after 50, the deep black tone has a way of flattening everything, making hair look heavier, more static, less alive. But here's what's important. This isn't about giving up on dark hair. It's about evolving with it. Donna didn't switch to blonde or chop it all off. She simply softened her shade, moved from jet black to a deep, warm chocolate brown. She even added a few caramel highlights near the temples. It wasn't drastic, but the difference, it was luminous. Her face looked warmer, her eyes brighter, her whole presence lighter. When she walked into the same grocery store she'd been visiting for years, people noticed, but not in a new hair kind of way. It was subtler, more like, "You look well rested. You're glowing." She didn't change who she was. She just let her color shift to meet the woman she had become. And that's what Style Over 50 is really about: not clinging to what once worked, but choosing what works now. It's not about hiding gray. It's about embracing harmony, bringing out the softness and light that's already within. Do you know someone who made a small change to their hair color and suddenly looked 10 years brighter? Next, let's talk about a color that seems like the perfect solution for brightness, but might be quietly washing out the face. Light blonde and platinum, are they really as youthful as we think? Color 2, light blonde platinum, bright, but not always right. She thought going platinum would make her feel young again, but all it did was wash her out. That's what my friend Carla from college told me after one of those hopeful makeovers we all try at some point. She'd always been drawn to blonde. It felt fun, free, and full of light. When she reached her early 60s, she figured going lighter would bring some of that sparkle back. So she did it. Full platinum. It looked bold, icy, striking. But a few weeks in, she told me something I didn't expect. "I just feel faded." At first, I wasn't sure what she meant, but then I saw it too. It wasn't the hair itself, it was the way it sat against her face. Something about the tone was fighting her skin, not flattering it. That's the tricky thing about light blonde and platinum. They're beautiful shades, especially when you're younger or have naturally fair skin. But after 60, when skin tends to lose its rosy glow and becomes more translucent, those bright, cool tones can end up making the face look washed out. They don't bring warmth, they take it away. And when there's already a little unevenness in the skin, some sunspots, fine lines, or a little texture blonde can actually emphasize those things instead of softening them. It's like turning up the lights in a room you were happier seeing by candlelight. Carla also realized how hard it was to maintain. Platinum hair usually requires bleaching, and that's no small thing. Mature hair is already more delicate, lighter shades can dry it out, make it brittle, and take away that soft, healthy shine we all want to keep. She found herself needing deep conditioners, toners, and root touch-ups far more often than she expected. Now here's the part that stuck with me. She didn't regret trying it. It reminded me that I don't have to keep chasing the same version of myself. She told me, and then she made a quiet pivot. She transitioned to a warm honey blonde, with soft beige and golden brown lowlights woven in. The result wasn't dramatic, it was natural. Her skin looked instantly warmer, her eyes stood out more, and there was this calm elegance about her. People didn't say, "Oh, you changed your hair." They said, "You look rested, radiant, happy." That little shift made all the difference. It's a reminder that we don't have to stop being blonde. We just have to find the blonde that feels true now, not the one that belonged to a version of us from decades ago. Honey blonde, soft golden brown, beige blonde with a kiss of caramel. These are shades that light up the face without stealing the spotlight. And if someone still loves the idea of brightness, a gentle blend of highlights and lowlights can do wonders. It creates movement, depth, and that luminous quality that doesn't shout, but quietly glows. Have you ever gone lighter and noticed it just didn't sit right, like your hair was there, but you disappeared? Up next, let's explore a shade that once felt creative and fun, but over time might be working against natural elegance. Deep reds and burgundies may seem bold and expressive, but they often demand more than they give. Let's take a closer look. Color 3. Burgundy, deep red purple tones, bold but overbearing. She wanted something bold and vibrant. What she got was constant upkeep and a color that never quite looked right. That was the case with Sharon, a former coworker of mine who had always been drawn to rich, dramatic tones. One day, she showed up with a deep burgundy color somewhere between red wine and plum. At first glance, it was daring, even artistic. People noticed, but by the third week, something had changed. The color had begun to fade unevenly, turning patchy in places, almost muddy, and worse, it was doing strange things to her complexion. "Why do I always look flushed now?" she asked me, touching her cheeks with confusion. That's the challenge with deep red and purple-based shades. On mature skin, which tends to be thinner and more delicate, these tones can reflect warmth in all the wrong places. Instead of enhancing the skin's natural undertones, they often bring out redness, uneven patches, or that ruddy tint we try to balance out with makeup. What was meant to be bold starts to feel like a battle with the mirror, with the lighting, with the hair dye itself. And then there's the maintenance. These colors fade fast. They're beautiful for the first week or two, but then the richness slips away, leaving behind a dull version that no longer flatters. The vibrancy is gone, but the intensity, still there. Women who wear these shades often find themselves heading back to the salon every 3 to 4 weeks just to keep the color from turning brassy or flat. Sharon didn't want to be a high-maintenance kind of woman. She loved freedom, long walks, gardening, spontaneous weekend road trips. Sitting in a chair for hours with foils and toners didn't fit the life she was living or the woman she had become. So she made a shift. She moved to a warm chestnut brown with soft copper undertones. And for a hint of that red she still loved. Her stylist added a whisper of auburn highlights around the face, just enough to catch the light without stealing the show. Her skin tone looked instantly more even. The redness faded. Her hair looked alive again, but not loud. If you're someone who's drawn to burgundy or violet hues, it doesn't mean you have to let go of boldness. It just means choosing tones that bring balance instead of contrast. Warm browns, soft coppers, even auburn with a touch of cinnamon can still feel expressive, but in a way that moves with your features, not against them. And if red still calls to you, A subtle highlight at the ends or near the face can be more impactful than an all-over transformation, sometimes. Just a hint is all it takes to feel fresh and radiant. Have you ever chosen a bold color that felt exciting at first, but later felt like more work than it was worth? Next, let's turn the page. We've talked about the colors that may no longer serve us. Now it's time to explore the shades that do. Up next, 3 hair colors that naturally flatter women over 50, adding light, softness, and ease. Color 1. Chocolate brown with copper undertones, soft warmth that flatters naturally. She didn't want something loud, just something that made her skin look alive again. That's what my friend Diane said as we were chatting on her porch one fall afternoon. She'd recently grown tired of cycling through ashy tones that left her looking dull, and wasn't ready for anything too bold. What she wanted was something effortless, something that simply felt like her, just more radiant. She found it in chocolate brown with a subtle hint of copper. This shade is one of those beautiful in-betweens, rich without being overwhelming, warm without being too red. It has just enough depth to add definition to your face, but the copper undertone gives it a soft glow, like natural light bouncing off the skin. Think of it as a built-in filter that flatters without announcing itself. It's particularly lovely for women whose skin has started to lose a bit of that youthful brightness, something so many of us notice in our 50s and beyond, as collagen fades and the complexion becomes more neutral. Colors that are too cool or too flat can make us look tired, but chocolate brown with warm undertones brings back that subtle vitality, almost like a quiet blush across the cheeks. It also reflects light in the most forgiving way, unlike stark black or platinum, which can cast shadows or exaggerate fine lines. This tone creates softness around the features. It warms up the entire expression. Eyes seem brighter, skin smoother, smiles more relaxed. Another bonus, it's incredibly practical. This shade is excellent at blending in gray hairs without needing constant touch-ups. And whether your hair is straight, wavy, bobbed, or softly layered, chocolate brown plays well with texture. It adds richness to curls and dimension to sleek styles without demanding complicated upkeep. If you're heading to a stylist, ask them to blend a chocolate base with just a touch of copper lowlight, not too much, just enough to catch the sun. And for a polished finish, consider a gloss treatment every few weeks. It keeps the shine alive and the tone beautifully warm, without making the hair look too done. Diane told me later that it wasn't just the compliments that made her feel good. It was the feeling of looking in the mirror and seeing someone she recognized, not a past version of herself, and not a version trying too hard, just a gentle, graceful update. Have you ever worn a color that didn't scream for attention but made you feel quietly confident? Let's keep going. In the next section, we'll look at a cooler option that still feels fresh and polished, especially for women who want softness without too much warmth. It's called mushroom brown, and it might be just what you've been looking for. Color 2. Salt and pepper, natural, modern, and full of character. She stopped dyeing her hair and started turning heads. That's exactly what happened with Elaine, a woman I used to see at the Saturday farmers market. One week, she had warm brown hair with hints of copper. A few months later, I saw her again, and this time, her hair was salt and pepper, styled into a sharp layered cut that framed her face beautifully. She looked effortlessly elegant, confident, like someone fully at ease with who she was. Salt and pepper used to be seen as a sign of letting yourself go. But today, it tells a different story. It's become a modern symbol of self-assurance, a quiet confidence that says, I'm not hiding anything. This is me, and I've earned every shade. It's also incredibly flattering. As we age, our skin tone naturally softens and cools. Rather than fighting against those changes, salt and pepper hair often complements them beautifully. The mix of silver and deeper tones creates a harmonious contrast that feels natural, never harsh or forced. It brings out the eyes. It softens the angles of the face. And it gives off an elegance that doesn't have to try too hard. Another reason more women are embracing this look: maintenance. No more root touch-ups every few weeks. No more worrying about color fading or brassiness. With the right care, salt and pepper hair can shine just as brightly as any dyed shade, maybe even more. But here's the key. It has to be intentional. Letting your gray grow in can be freeing, but without the right cut or shape, it can risk looking unfinished. That's why styling matters so much. A clean bob, soft layers, or even a sleek pixie can transform natural grays into a statement. And don't underestimate the power of a silver toner or purple shampoo. These help maintain brightness and prevent that dull yellowish tinge that can sometimes creep in. Elaine paired her new salt and pepper look with bold glasses and a pair of gold hoop earrings. The result wasn't just natural, it was stylish. It said, "I know who I am, and I'm not here to blend in." If you've ever wondered whether going natural might age you, the answer depends entirely on how you wear it. Salt and pepper hair, when embraced with intention, doesn't age you, it elevates you. So, what about you? Have you ever thought about letting the silver shine through and owning it with pride? Next, we'll explore a final shade that bridges elegance and warmth in the most subtle way. Soft beige blondes, a tone that flatters without overpowering and gives just enough glow to brighten the whole face. Color 3. Cool ash brown plus smoky highlights, dimensional. Chic and effortlessly modern. She didn't want warmth. She wanted edge with softness. That's how my neighbor Linda described her hair transformation over coffee one morning. She had spent years cycling through warm chestnuts and honey blondes, only to realize that those golden tones clashed with her cool undertone. They made her skin look sallow, her eyes tired. So, she took a chance on ash brown with a smoky finish. And suddenly, everything shifted. Cool ash brown is one of those magical shades that feels understated yet striking. It doesn't scream for attention, it draws it. It's rich without being heavy, cool without being stark. And when blended with soft smoky highlights, charcoal, silver gray, or steel, it creates movement and depth that's elegant and modern at once. What makes this shade truly shine is how well it complements certain skin tones. Women with cool or neutral undertones often find that warmer browns or reds can make them look ruddy or uneven. But cool ash brown works like a soft focus lens. It neutralizes redness, evens out skin tone, and brightens the overall appearance without adding too much contrast. It's also incredibly practical. Unlike platinum or vibrant reds, this shade is relatively low maintenance. The cool base naturally blends in grays, so even as the hair grows out, the roots don't clash. And because the color isn't overly saturated, it fades gracefully over time, no brassiness, no muddy tones, just a soft, lived-in transition. The real magic comes with the highlights. Smoky streaks, whether thick or whisper-thin, add texture and volume. They catch the light in subtle ways, giving the illusion of thicker, fuller hair. For women whose hair has started to lose density, this can make a dramatic difference. It's movement without layers, volume without teasing. Depending on your personality, you can go bolder with chunkier highlights or keep it delicate with soft ribbons that blend into the ash base. And with the right styling, think straight bob, softly layered shag, or a sleek chin-length cut. The effect is sharp, polished, and confidently stylish. To keep the tone cool and fresh, purple or blue-toned shampoos are key. They prevent yellowing, preserve the smoky finish, and help your hair stay true to its elegant, ashy hue. Linda told me she finally felt like her outer look matched how she felt inside, still vibrant, still evolving, but no longer chasing trends, just choosing what aligned. Have you ever felt like your hair didn't need to be brighter, it just needed to be smarter? Maybe you've tried one of these shades before. Maybe you've looked in the mirror and quietly wondered, why doesn't this feel like me anymore? That feeling, it's not about vanity. It's your inner wisdom noticing that something shifted. After 50, beauty becomes something deeper. It's not about turning back the clock. It's about honoring who you are, now radiant, strong, and wholly yourself. If this video gave you a new perspective on hair color, I'd love to hear about it. Have you found a shade that made you feel confident, vibrant, or simply you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might just inspire another woman today. And if you'd love more tips on style and beauty designed just for women over 50, I'd be truly honored to welcome you to our circle. Subscribe to Chic Over 50 so you won't miss our favorite finds in fashion, hair, and the art of elegant living. Until next time, stay graceful, stay curious, and remember, you're already beautiful, just as you are.